Hey, Chaz.
Hey, man, what's up?
Do you ever feel like David is real? Like more real than real life? Like he could step right out of the recording and
Aaron, he is real.
yeah, it really does feel that way sometimes, doesn't it?
Aaron, what the hell is wrong with you, bud?
Holy shit!
Welcome to
Cast into Hell.
a podcast where three dudes in their 30s watch one horror movie each week and pass final judgment. I am your host of the best kids-based horror TV show in the 10:30 time slot, The Pink Opaque, and with me today is
Chaz.
and
Aaron.
And Aaron. Sorry, my mic got muted somehow.
and only we can decide.
I'm even that in for sure.
Okay.
You guys know what it is by now. We watch movies and we tell you how good or bad they are and throw them on the list. This week, our movie was chosen by our illustrious host, Aaron.
Yes.
Aaron, what are we watching?
We watched I Saw the TV Glow, and I gotta say, I think I was feeling a little belligerent last week after One Cut of the Dead when we spent the whole time arguing about whether it was really a horror movie or not, and I just wanted to fuck with you guys, so I threw in something that is also arguably not a horror movie, but that I think is an incredible film that there's just so much to say about.
Well, I'm going to stop you right there because Wikipedia says I Saw the TV Glow is a 2024 American psychological horror drama film written and directed by Jane Shoenbrun. So it is infallibly a horror movie.
That's true. It fits our criteria, but we did have a very long argument about a movie that fit our criteria last week. So that's all I got to say about that.
I will say, I feel like this movie more fits traditional horror vibes than One Cut of the Dead does.
100%.
Yeah, it does have the vibes.
Yeah, it borrows heavily from horror tropes, and it's about a horror show. Light horror, but horror. And I think it has
like Goosebumps level horror.
And it has some spooky moments. It has some existential dread. What's more horrifying than that, honestly?
Yeah,
Long
it does.
monologues.
Got him. Yeah, I mean, look, it like Aaron said, it's got the vibes. There's like the scene early on where the ice cream man like vomits ice cream out of his mouth as he stands at like the end of a bed or something. And I was like, I saw that and I was like, yeah, the vibe check is passed. Like it's honorary. It's an honorary horror movie if it's not, really one. But no, I mean, a lot of times I think for me, horror is all about just whether or not they intended it to be horrifying. And when we get into talking about some of the themes of this movie, I think it's pretty undeniable that this movie is meant to be horrifying, but more about, the psychological horror of existence and your place in it and whether or not your place in it is right. So all of that in a minute. Let's tell them about the movie. This is a weird movie, boys. Like, this is a really fucking weird movie.
Absolutely. You cannot do a literal reading of this movie. Like, that is just not a thing that you can do in earnest. It is meant to be allegory, and it's meant to be metaphorical, and it's meant to, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm looking for a really simple word that is just not there in my brain right now. Symbolism. Wow.
Symbology.
Everything's meant to be symbolic, and you can take from it what you will, but it very clearly is not meant to be read as a literal story where things literally happen all the time.
You can
Sure
take from it. No. I wasn't going to say you can't take it literally. I was going to say you can take from it what you will, but one thing that's pretty cut and dry. I looked at an interview with Shoenbrun, and they were very clear that when they wrote this movie, it was always intended to be a reading of the trans experience. And I'm going to get this out the gate. You got 3 cis straight white boys on the pod today. So this is not an experience that I can talk to with any real authority, but I'm also not going to really try to. I really just want to talk about how effective I think the movie is and what it intended to accomplish. And ultimately, what were the vibes like? Was it good? I didn't think it was good. Spoiler alert. We'll see how good.
I enjoyed the movie. I've actually now watched it 2.5 times, and my girlfriend is currently finishing that third viewing as we record this podcast because I finally got her to sit down and watch it.
Yeah, so I think just to speak on what David said, it's definitely overtly and not hiding the fact that it's a trans allegory. I think that is very clear.
Not at all.
No.
But that doesn't mean that's all you have to take away from it, because so much of it,
100%.
yeah. And I just want to talk about what I personally took from it as someone who, beyond having trans friends, I can't relate to what it's like to be a trans person. But I do know what it's like to feel like you can't be your true self in a world that wants you to be one thing. I know what it's like to not embrace the things that make you unique and to hide them for fear of derision. I know what it's like to be afraid that you will always be just getting by instead of embracing what you could be. I think all of these things are things that basically anyone can relate to, unless you're, perfect and you already did everything you always wanted to do in life and lived the perfect life you wanted to live.
Yeah, like me. I didn't get any of that. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, you say that. I got my dad to watch this movie. And after the movie was over, I said, yeah. He was like, I didn't get it. And I said, well, it's an allegory about being trans. And he goes, oh, I didn't get that at all. I'm like, what were you watching? Like, he wears a dress on screen. Like, it's pretty much just text. Like,
Yeah.
They kind of hold your hand through it the whole way to like just be like, Here you
That's
go.
what I'm trying to say. Shout out to my dad if he's listening. What's up?
Although, admittedly, on IMDb, there is like a quote from an interview the director did where they specifically say a drunk guy approached them after a screening and said they thought the film was about how suicide is the answer. And the director was just like, yeah, that's not the message at all. And you're emphatically wrong.
To be fair,
I try not to say that all the time, but you are wrong.
It did cross my mind at one point that it could be read that way.
I had the same thought, like for the briefest of a second, but I really think you have to ignore a ton of the other like allegory and symbolism the movie's throwing at you to land at that conclusion for the entirety of the film.
I definitely don't see that that reading personally, which it's not there, so that's fine. But
okay, well, we're getting into the only way it's
readings.
there is because she says, "Hey, come bury yourself." Like it's about letting go of the. I mean, obviously that's not what the intent was, but I see how someone could make that mistake.
I have so many thoughts about the whole coffin concept, and we'll get to that. But I think this is a movie that we really should go back before we start delving into the themes and stuff. People are going to have no idea what the fuck we're talking about if we don't try to recap.
Yeah, go straight into themes. Don't let people know anything
this
about
is a
the
movie that I know Aaron said this movie can't be read literal, or there is no literal reading of it, and I agree. But we do need to probably touch on what literally does happen in this movie, or else any analysis is going to be without complete context, because this movie is pretty fucking insane in its plot, and I'm probably going to butcher it. You guys just jump in. I Saw the TV Glow is about I would call him a prepubescent child.
He is explicitly in seventh
grade to ninth.
Yeah.
He is.
Then 8 years later.
That's right. Yeah, there's a lot of time jumps. So it's a 7th grade kid who he's at election night at his local school, and he sees a disenfranchised 9th grader sitting there reading a TV guide for a TV show called The Pink Opaque. He's a very bored kid, and he goes and says hello and starts talking to this person. This person has very poor social skills, and honestly, it sort of seems like they might just not really be all there. I don't know. I at first had an autistic reading on both of these characters. I don't know if you guys felt that. We can touch on that.
Both a little antisocial, and by a little I mean completely antisocial.
Yeah,
they're definitely completely antisocial.
I don't think that's explicit, but I do know that a lot of autistic people connect heavily with these characters, and I've heard that from multiple people.
Fair enough. They get to talking about this TV show called The Pink Opaque. There's this fantastic scene where the Owen, the 7th grader, goes, "Isn't that a show for kids?" And Maddie who is the other kid, just gets super offended. It's like, it's way too scary for most kids to even handle, and the lore and the mythology is too deep for most kids to understand. And she's like genuinely offended. They're both obsessed with The Pink Opaque, but Owen's never seen it before. And she invites him over on Saturday night at 10:30, and he has to like sneak out of his house, and he goes over there, and they watch The Pink Opaque, and they like kind of become friends. I say that because I think they would call each other friends, but they barely speak to each other what so fucking ever. He makes the comment that he can't even get the courage to say 3 words to her. Anytime you see them interact, it is with the awkward social skills of a kid trying to buy weed off of an older kid at high school. It's very much so like she leaves TV recordings on VHSs of the Pink Opaque in like the dark room at school, and he picks them up and he'll go talk to her and be like, hey, I like that last episode. You got any more of that? You know, it very much so felt like an awkward high school drug deal to me, but they become more and more obsessed with the Pink Opaque. And eventually Maddie is like, I'm getting the fuck out of here. I've got to leave town. And they find her TV burning in the backyard, and she's gone, and she's missing for a number of years. Meanwhile,
one thing I think is relevant is that she asks the lead kid to go with her.
And to go with.
He doesn't. He finds a way out of it.
Yeah, that's
he uses
really
his mother's illness. She's dying of cancer at this point in the movie, and his unresponsive father, terrible father, I guess might be a more accurate
Fred Durst
description
of a father.
to like punish him.
His
Fred Durst of a father.
Yeah. I was going to say, did anybody else pick up on the fact that the father's Fred Durst?
Yeah, man. It's one of my favorite facts about this movie.
Fred Durst, who looks like he's wearing a Halloween mask.
He looks like he's doing a Bill Burr cosplay.
Yeah, it's so weird.
That is so accurate. We got to keep going, though. This movie's got a long plot. Okay. Long story short, he doesn't go with her, and they spend a number of years not in contact with each other. I want to say it's like 8 years.
It says explicitly it's 8 years.
It's explicitly 8 years.
8 years later, and then they see each other later that day.
Yeah, Owen is working a dead-end job at a movie theater where he fails to really be able to connect with anybody in his life, like even his father. I mean, he has no friends. Everybody is basically like an automaton to him. They barely acknowledge his existence. Maddie shows up, and it's the first real human interaction we've ever seen Owen have, and she explains to him that, guess what? The Pink Opaque is what actually is real, and you and I are characters from that TV show. We are, in fact, the 2 lead characters from that TV show, and we have been put into this world as sort of like a punishment by the big bad of that TV show. It's like the devil of that world's Buffy the Vampire Slayer. It's called Mr. Melancholy. And because the 2 characters have like a psychic rapport that allows them to defeat this week's monster, you know, that's plaguing small town America, he finally captures them, and he sends them to the other side, which is like the world that we have been viewing.
The suburbs.
Suburbs. The world we've been viewing thus far. She has cracked the code, and she's trying
to get him to go back.
Right, exactly. Yeah, she's trying to get him to go back. He is interested but unwilling. She eventually does go back again, leaving a message behind for him that it is not too late. However, Owen will go on for the rest of his life, and we will see him as a senior citizen working at an arcade, like the kind of arcade that hosts children's birthday parties, completely having a panic attack, realizing that everything around him is a lie and that his life is a lie. He goes into the bathroom, takes a box cutter, cuts himself open, and what does he see but a TV glow coming out of him? And on that TV, the Pink Opaque is playing. And then he goes back out and kind of just apologizes to everyone for his mental breakdown, but nobody even seems to notice him, and that's where the movie ends. And that's the general gist. That's enough that you guys will still have some value, a lot of value, honestly, in watching this movie. This is obviously an allegory explicitly for the trans experience of one person who embraces their identity and another person who doesn't, and because of that, the 2 never shall really connect in a level that they did before.
And one of them slowly dies of asthma.
But you could, like we've already said, you could substitute anything in there that you want to be but are unwilling to face the social consequences. If we didn't say it explicitly enough, the way that Maddie begs Owen to go back to the other side with him is that she's going to put herself into a coffin and be buried alive. And her sort of dying in that coffin is going to allow her to wake up on the other side. And she invites Owen to get into that coffin with her so that they can both go together.
And start season 6 of the TV show.
And start season 6 of the TV show, which they do find, like Owen will find the script to at some point, kind of insinuating that season 6 is going to start with or without him, and we really want him to be a part of it. But or I guess her pronouns are kind of weird for this because Owen does deny being she her.
Isabel is
yeah,
the counterpart, right?
Yeah. Owen is Isabel and Maddie's
Tara and Isabel.
Immediately what's coming to mind here is that there is this experience in our political climate today with trans people where you could frame it, and many do, that in order to live as yourself, you must open yourself up to enormous risk. I mean, once you come out as trans, I would assume whether you can go back is maybe like societally debatable, but there are people who will never view you the same in your life. Even your family, your mother, your father, if they have a negative opinion of that and you go, JK, I'm walking that back, you can only walk it back so much. They'll always remember you for that. And that can be very scary for people who are on the fence. I mean, not just very scary, like let's be real. The political climate is such where trans people are at risk, all-time high risk of violence. And so what this is saying, this is framing a choice for Owen. You got to risk it all. You either die or you come out on the other side as your true self. The alternative is to ensure that you keep on living in safety, but you never really fully live. That's what this movie spoke to me. It's like the idea of being willing to die to really live as you are, not just putting to death, who you were or who you were pretending to be to adhere to society or whatever you want to say, but just quite literally, are you willing to potentially die to come out of your cocoon? Or do you want to stay in the cocoon where it's safe for the rest of your life and you'll be fine, but you'll never be fulfilled? To me, that's what this entire movie is about. One of them is willing to make that choice. The other one is not. And very clearly dies.
You see the consequences for not doing or not making that choice.
Yes. Yeah, Owen dies regretting who he could be. There's even a scene where he's obviously there comes a point where he's denied it for so long that he doesn't even fully remember things correctly. And that's to me, I got that reading when he goes back to try and watch The Pink Opaque in his late adulthood. And it just doesn't hit the same. I mean, it is quite literally, folks, to look at it like it is not the same TV show. It is like a much more dumbed down version of it. Yeah. And
I mean, nostalgia is such a huge, it's almost a character in this show. I mean, in this movie, it's like so much of it was rooted in the aesthetics of late 90s, early 2000s, what it's like to be a kid in that era. So for me, it was super nostalgic. Seeing all these spaces, seeing what looked like a Chuck E. Cheese in that era is like, holy shit, we can never go back. But I really liked a lot of the visuals, a lot of the choices to have. I mean, those moments in school, and this is touched on in the film, where they bring in the big blow up observatory, where they do the big trampoline above your head. Mm-hmm. Like those are weird, special memories where a space that is ordinary to you is transformed. And I think seeing those put to film in a way that really captured that feeling you only really get as a kid, I think was kind of magical, honestly.
Yeah, it's dark magic, right? It does hit on everything you grew up with in school in the 90s, but like things are just like not quite right. And again, I think that's hinting to, for Owen, the way that he experiences the world around him is as if the world isn't really for him. Like he's in that world, but not of that world. And it turns out that's quite literally true in the movie, but which is cool. But even before you know that, on a second watch, and admittedly, I didn't get a second watch in of this one. I wish that I had, but I can see how on a second watch you would start to pick up that like this guy acts like a guy in a simulation because he's a guy in a simulation, right? None of this is real.
Yeah, nothing's real from the moment, like even in his childhood, like none of it is real, and it feels unreal, like from the beginning.
Yes, the whole movie.
Surreal is even like the better word,
weird ass
right?
dream, and in the best way possible. Like, and the best thing about that to me is that every bit of it feels so intentional. I mean, so many movies aim for this kind of thing, but they're just throwing shit at the wall. This one, I feel like every single thing on the frame was a choice.
Agreed.
That was just like fantastic to see. I don't know. It's a real piece of art. They managed to weave so many themes in at the same time too. Like, yes, it is a trans allegory, but it's also about losing your childhood self. I mean, things seem magical. Things seem more real than real when you're a kid. You know, media you love, places you go. Nothing ever feels that way again once you're grown up. And I think there is a reading of this film where Maddie is, you know, she goes out and she lives this life away from where she was born, hoping that it'll be better and special, and it's not. And so she wants to return to her childhood. She wants to return to a life that is simple and full of things that bring her joy. And the pink opaque
wonder and like mysticism, even though like some of it's bad, it's still cool and exciting. I mean, she literally has a line in the movie is like, I went to, I think it's like New Mexico or Arizona, and the trees were different, but everything else is the same.
That was a great line.
Yeah. It's worth also noting, we don't ever know that Maddie makes the right choice. Like the movie definitely I think the movie wants you to think Maddie made the right choice, and I'm fine with that reading. But we don't know that Maddie comes out okay. From the plot of the Pink Opaque, the only reason that the two of them have the strength to keep on going is their psychic rapport, and they defeat monsters basically through their psychic connection. And that's why Mr. Melancholy, who by the way is just the fucking moon, which is awesome. Pretty terrifying, actually. We can touch on that.
Honestly, one of my favorite moments is the Mr. Moon monologue.
Can I push back on what you said a little bit?
Okay.
So you say you think it's meant to be read like, oh yeah, Maddie gets through, everything's real, she comes out great on the other side. I actually think it's ambiguous on purpose. I think the whole point is that it's a leap of faith and you'll never truly know if you're happier on the other side.
We're in agreement. I'm saying I think the movie wants us to, at face value, think Owen's a coward because he didn't do it. And here's the consequences of his cowardice. He lives closeted for the rest of his days, unfulfilled, and eventually dies with no one actually being close to him. Because, you know, not only does he just literally not have anybody, but if I would imagine if you're a trans person and no one knows that you're trans, no one really quite literally knows you. And that's what we see Owen die under those circumstances. The movie would say, like, here is the result of your cowardice. And we don't actually see the result of Maddie's bravery. All we know is that she goes back to the Pink Opaque, but my greater point was going to be that it's very likely that Maddie goes back and immediately gets her fucking shit rocked by Mr. Melancholy and the other
Marco
villains.
And Polo.
Or that none of it was real.
Yeah, Marco and Polo.
And she just dies under the dirt.
Yeah, or that she dies under the dirt. Okay, I'm giving a faithful reading that Maddie's right about the Pink Opaque, but let's just say she is.
I think it's like, I think from what happens in the movie, you can take on face value that Maddie is right. If you're trying to argue that, like, oh, what Maddie's saying isn't even real, I feel you're being disingenuous to the film itself at that level.
No, I feel like
I tend
it's
to
intentionally ambiguous in a big way. I don't think it is explicitly true that what's going on is.
So
I think it is supposed to be ambiguous to some level. Like even the ending is ambiguous. Like David keeps saying that Owen dies.
Well, he doesn't die.
But also it, to me, especially on the second watch, I didn't really pick up that on the first watch. I think on the second watch, he's leaving to go bury himself.
Oh,
like he is finally accepted and is making that leap of faith.
See, I thought
that's interesting.
I thought he went back on it and chickened out again.
To speak to that, apparently, and Justice Smith, who plays Owen, said in an interview, like that take was longer, and it ends with him embracing a bright light at the end, but they purposefully cut it earlier because the director didn't want it to be so straightforward, as they wanted that ambiguity of to what's going on. So I don't know that one is right or the other. It's up to you to interpret. And I think you could honestly go back and forth each viewing of the movie.
It comes down to whether or not you're willing to accept that the things that are seen in the movie are actually seen, because he encounters the script to season 6 of The Pink Opaque on his ride home from work one night. And if you're willing to say that really happened, well, then The Pink Opaque is probably pretty fucking real. Your only counterpoint would say, yeah, well, it doesn't have to be. It's possible that somebody was driving around with a fanfic season 6 they made and dropped it, right? Like it's still not 100%, but I agree with you.
Yeah. I mean, I think you're right.
Like then you're like just branching off into too many possibilities of like how to be like, well, it could be real, but then this.
Yeah. So my broader point, you're totally right if you take it at face value in that way. For me, I thought a lot of the visuals were there for visuals' sake and weren't meant to be literally within the realism of the film. Like at the very end when he cuts himself open with a box cutter, like if that happened, the next scene definitely can't happen. So much of it must have been just symbolic or in someone's head. I mean, it had this like dreamlike quality to it where I just don't think you can take everything at face value.
If the world he's in's not real, then cutting yourself open with the box cutter isn't actually killing yourself.
That's right. They're not like literally transported to the other world because they're not literally in bodies played by the same actors as Tara and Isabel. And when Maddie Tara gets back to the Pink Opaque world, she says that she finds Isabel like in stasis. So my understanding is the midnight, what do they call it? Midnight realm. You don't have a physical body. It's like you can claw your way out of it. When you kill yourself, it's like waking up in a dream. Yeah, it's in a dream where when you die in the dream, you wake up in reality kind of thing. I think that's what they're going for. So to me, anything that he sees happen to him is just dream shit for sure. The script is dream shit. So I guess that kind of refutes my original point. I had a broader point though, that I don't want to get lost. But my point is there's not a right or wrong answer to this problem. Like, who am I to tell somebody who tells me like, hey, I just want you to know because we're cool. I might be trans, but I don't really want to address it. I just kind of want to keep on going with my life because I just don't feel like I can emotionally deal with that right now. And they just never bring it up again. Who am I to tell that person that their life is any less valid and that was any less valid of a choice than the person who transitions fully, is, out and proud about that. I don't think, I mean, they have their, I don't want to say they have their pros and their cons. I really can't speak to that, but in the movie they're presented as having pros and cons, I would suppose. But I think Owen's side is presented with nothing but cons, and we just don't see Maddie who embraces it. We don't see her cons or her pros, right? We just cease to see her. I thought that was a pretty interesting message. Is, we don't ultimately know which was the right call. We just know that the result of the call that Owen made was not a very pleasant one. And there's also an element that says, sometimes you make the wrong call and the wrong outcome happens. Like, you make the right choice, you pick the right option and it just doesn't work out. Sometimes shit just doesn't work out.
Yeah. I mean, I think what works about the movie is it's open to so many different interpretations. Mm-hmm. Like I said, I think the more you watch it, you can have a different view point after each time you finish the film. You might take away something different that completely changes your perspective on the film. Right now, I can only speak to like my current perspective on the film, which is that it is presenting to me very clearly Owen was wrong, Maddie was right, Pink Opaque, yes, very real, and that the other world where they're like, that seems closer to our actual world is fake and a lie.
Agreed.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's totally valid. For me, I think I just don't really care if it's real or not. To me,
Sure.
It doesn't matter at the end
to
of the day.
me, the symbolism is there whether it literally happens in the movie or not, and I think that's where the power is of this film, is in the symbolism.
Agreed. Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah,
and
100%.
we've talked the themes of this movie to death at this point. We're starting to get circular, but here's the other strength of this film: the cinematography is really fucking cool.
It's incredible.
I was also going to say the soundtrack is fantastic.
Yes.
I loved all of the music, and I brought this up before we started recording. But the director had 16 songs created for the movie by their favorite bands, and I just think that's also.
Did you notice that the
cool.
two bands, the two bands and the two songs that played when Maddie first comes back and tries to at the bar and tries to get Owen to go back with her to the Pink Opaque, those two bands were in the TV guide as being on the television during the Pink Opaque that night. Did you guys catch that?
I did not.
No.
So when
That's
Maddie's
cool,
reading the TV guide, I forget the exact details, but it's either that they're going to be on the television at the same time, or I think they're literally going to be like, I think the kids in the show were like literally going to go see those two bands, and they're the bands that are playing when Maddie comes back. That 100% is true, because I watched this with my sister and she was like immediately like, oh, it's those bands. Sorry, I just burped. You can edit that out or not. It's
one
fine.
of the musicians is actually Phoebe Bridgers. I don't know if you guys caught that.
Oh,
I had to look it up, but I'm also not super familiar with Phoebe Bridgers, so
I can't believe they didn't have fucking Fred Durst do a song.
I'm
Weird
not
fit.
surprised at all that Fred Durst didn't get a track.
I want a track that's
on the movie.
incredibly literal and describes everything that happens in the movie literally. I feel like that's his avenue.
So you like a TV show?
It's just one of those days.
This movie is a trans allegory.
Oh God!
I was big in the 90s too.
Speaking of the music, it was really nostalgic for me because that Broken Social Scene song, the Anthems for a 17-year-old girl,
thinking the same
that was on
thing.
the Scott Pilgrim soundtrack, which I listened to nonstop in high school.
That was a great soundtrack as well.
Banger.
And yeah, that song, because it opens, I think that's the first song you hear in the movie. And I was just immediately like, and I think that's during the, when they're doing the trampoline thing, right?
Yeah, I think it continues through that.
So a lot of nostalgia just hitting right in that moment between the song and just Owen walking underneath the dome.
Yeah, well, I was going to say another cool thing. Actually, I didn't notice this. I'm going to give a shout out to my sister who texted me the day after we watched this movie and was like, hey, so I think Maddie was 2 years older than Owen because she was buried or captured and buried by Mr. Melancholy before they caught Isabel. So she went into the Midnight Realm earlier than Isabel, and so has potentially been there longer.
It's interesting.
That's totally
pretty cool.
Viable, because I think they say it's like years in the Midnight Realm past like seconds.
Yes.
In the world, or yeah, like so the time differential is different between the two things.
Yeah, for sure, 100%. This movie's got really cool sequences of you mentioned Scott Pilgrim a second ago. It's got that same thing going on where there's like almost like somebody's drawing on the screen. There's like pop effects that are sort of like what you would see on a 90s Super Soaker commercial where, you know, it's almost like somebody scrawled some shit coming out the end of a gun instead of actually showing a gun fire, you know.
Yeah, the 90s are very alive
neon.
in this film.
Yeah, 100%.
Do you notice they went to Void High School, aka VHS?
I did notice that.
I like how unapologetic it was about throwing the nostalgia in your face. It was fun.
The movie knows what its inspiration is, and is just like, yeah, it wears it on its sleeve, and the more power to the film for doing it.
So, you know what else I want to unapologetically throw into the face of our listeners?
The list?
It's the list. Guys, if this is your first time with us, we have a list. What we do here, we don't just ramble on with an outsider's perspective on a niche topic for an hour. We also put that niche topic we have no business talking about on a list and compare it to other niche topics. And the list gets a little bit bigger every week. So right now we have a list of 11 horror movies that we have ranked from worst to best. And the two things you need to know is that this list never changes. It always grows. And we make no mistakes. We are what you would call infallible, without error, and perfect. And I feel pretty equipped to start arguing with you two about where on the list this goes.
Do we want to update viewers on the status of the list?
Let's go
just
through the list.
Brief one. Like, if I can do, I'll just do three. Our best movie is The Exorcist. Our worst movie is The Human Centipede, the first sequence. And our most average movie, I think very appropriately, is Insidious.
So, there's nothing on the list that's really quite like I Saw the TV Glow. Actually, the closest thing that comes to it is One Cut of the Dead that we talked about last week, just because it's sort of a fake out what really happened. Oh shit, this is what really happened. But plot wise, I don't know. There's nothing like this movie kind of. I mean, at all.
This is our first A24 film, so our first like art house horror, and
yeah. This is also the most recent movie on our list. 2022 is the most recent year.
It's the most recent year that exists.
Yeah.
I've seen a few A24 horror films, and I know you guys have not seen Bring Her Back yet, but you guys saw Talk to Me, right?
I've seen Talk to Me.
So those two are both much more explicitly horror films. This is the least scary of them. I actually do think this might be the best of them, though.
I'd have to argue with you on that, but I don't know. I like scary horror films, so I just give more points if it's a more traditional horror film a lot of the time.
Well, neither of those movies are on our list right now, but I'm looking up on the list, right? Like, this is better than Paranormal Activity, right?
100%. I think the starting point for the discussion has to be One Cut of the Dead, because that's the thing that's kind of most similar. And I mean, it's better than One Cut of the Dead, in my opinion. I like One Cut of the Dead's a ton of fun. It's a charming film.
You don't have to convince me. This is also better than
This
Smile.
is way better than Smile.
Yeah. A Quiet Place, then. How are we feeling?
I hate that we keep slotting stuff towards the top so recently. Like, Smile and One Cut of the Dead both cracked like the top.
I mean,
yeah, but
we did binge watch 9 movies of varying quality, so I think we're entitled to a few good
We needed a little dessert.
We have to dive back into the depths
100%.
of trash that we're going to.
Yeah, and also we're going to be drawing a random movie after this, so we have absolutely no idea what to expect.
Lastly, I didn't know One Cut of the Dead would be so good. Like, none of us had actually saw that. I just picked it because it was a popular zombie movie.
Yeah.
It was a surprise. That could have gone anywhere. I honestly thought it was going to go lower when I picked it.
I think this is a better movie than A Quiet Place. Better thought out. It's more artistic. I love A Quiet Place. It's a good action film. This movie speaks to me in a way that movie never could.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult to refute the idea that it's better thought out because it has like A Quiet Place is like, you must be quiet or else you will die, child. Like that's the plot. And obviously, it is more artful.
I could argue it's more Quiet Place, more thought out in its crafting of set pieces. Like that's something this movie's kind of missing.
Okay, I regret saying more thought out. That doesn't mean anything. It's
it's different. It's different viewpoints on filmmaking. Yeah. Like, one is all about message and is more thought provoking. The other is definitely more entertainment
and focused. That's a matter of taste.
It's really hard to justify which is more valuable in that regard, because
exactly.
I still want to be entertained. I am still entertained by I Saw the TV Glow. I don't want to be like, oh, this movie's boring. It's not. It's great.
It's a vibes-based podcast. I've said every time, and that continues to be true. The vibes are strong with this one. As we get towards the top of the list, these movies start to become movies that have a message, that start to become art. Like, I'm not going to call Smile art, but it has a strong message and it's got some cool scares. A Quiet Place is definitely like a message of family in the wake of disaster. The Exorcist is both art and a message, right? But I don't think that the lack of a message and the lack of art is what makes a Human Centipede the bottom on this list either. Like, it's bad because it's fucking terrible, not because it didn't have a
several
message I
other
agreed with.
aspects lacking in that film, like cinematography, acting, writing.
What I'm saying is, like, One Cut of the Dead is probably not better shot than some of the other movies below it, but it arguably is. Anyway, this is all subjective.
Yeah.
The question is like, do I like this movie better? And I think I do. Like, I saw the TV Glow better than A Quiet Place. I've seen A Quiet Place twice now, and I don't really ever care to see it again. Like, I respect how fucking good it is, but I get it. I think I could get more from, again, this is still subjective. I think if I saw the TV Glow again, I would get something out of it. And maybe
I'd
that's
agree with that.
And
I would slot this above A Quiet Place.
To me, when two movies are really, really close, and I don't know how close these are. I like I Saw the TV Glow a lot better.
They're not.
But my point is, even if they were neck and neck in terms of quality, I would value novelty. I would value originality pretty highly. And I Saw the TV Glow is one of the most original films I've ever seen.
That's a very fair point. I personally think there's no way in hell this beats out The Exorcist, but you guys agree?
It doesn't. I can't put this above The Exorcist. I really loved The Exorcist when we rewatched it for this podcast. It's a near perfect movie, like, in my eyes, in terms of like this list.
Well, you're missing out on an amazing opportunity to declare this movie better than The Exorcist and be hunted down in your sleep by the listeners of this show.
I personally like this movie better than I like The Exorcist, but that is entirely just because of what it said to me. I think The Exorcist is absolutely more. Give me a sec to phrase my thoughts. I have the power of final edit. I can take as long as I want.
The power of final edit compels you.
I think The Exorcist is just as artful. Just because I connected more with the message of I Saw the TV Glow does not make it a better film and does not make it a better horror film than The Exorcist. And I think The Exorcist is both of those things. It's probably a better movie. It was, in its time, just as original, just as incredible.
Yeah, I feel like we shouldn't detract from it just because it's been copied into oblivion.
Absolutely.
Well,
like that is the movie that like started the tropes. And
to your point, Chaz, The Exorcist took more balls to make in 1973 to make a movie where a girl with a crucifix was a very difficult thing for Friedkin to do, I'm sure. I mean, he was fucking boycotted. Billy Graham called for burnings of the movie and of the book and stuff. I mean, I Saw the TV Glow was made at a different time where we're just more exposed to stuff and things are it's more acceptable to be horrific, right? Or to celebrate, not to celebrate the horrific, but to point out what's horrific in real life by juxtaposing it against fictional horrific events. That is just an art form now. And horror movies have existed for over 100 years, but The Exorcist
it's what
is
A24 is
different.
kind of built on, is like juxtaposing the horrific across everyday life.
Yeah,
100%.
And I Saw the TV Glow does it expertly, but it's not The Exorcist.
Yeah, I think essentially I would say that if I were to make a film of a list of my favorite movies, I would put I Saw the TV Glow higher. But in terms of better movies, The Exorcist is probably going to edge it out. In 1973, man, that's crazy.
It's insane that a 50-year-old movie is so good and holds up so well. And I hope I Saw the TV Glow. Like, who knows what we'd say about that this movie in 50 years.
Yeah, 52 years.
Let's all swear right now in 52 years we'll redo the list.
I'll be dead. There's no chance.
What, 2077? Oh my God.
You think I'm going to be 80 years old?
We don't
know.
We'll
have lapped it. That's so crazy. I mean, obviously that's how math works, but we'll be past 73. That's insane.
Yeah. So yeah, in 52 years, we'll restart the pod and we'll see how I Saw the TV Glow holds up against The Exorcist. And who knows, it might unseat it then.
Well, with the current government, I'm excited to see if we're saying, like, man, can you believe that trans people used to have to worry about coming out? Or will we say, remember when being trans was a thing and we didn't exterminate them in camps? I'm hoping that's not going to be where this goes.
We're going to look at the birthday cake.
The government's scary.
Say, remember when there was food? That was great.
Yeah, that's right.
Now we're...
Back in my day, I ate.
3 meals.
I thought you were just gonna stop
every
it. I
day.
ate. Like that's it.
I thought about it. I could have stopped there.
All right.
Yeah, I'm good
Well-
with this at number 2. It can't be number 1, but
All right, audio listeners.
Audio viewers.
is what I've been
audio
calling them.
viewers.
Audio
Yeah,
viewers.
get it right.
Your new number 2. I saw the TV Glow. Not a bad showing for. Is this Shoenbrun's first film?
Second.
Third.
Third.
Second-
Okay, well,
third
it's still not a bad
feature-length
showing.
Second
film.
feature, I thought.
Well,
Wait, was
okay.
because I know that there was
There's self-induced hallucination. I believe it's over an hour long.
Okay.
So counts as a feature-length film, and that would be their first. That movie's an hour and 7 minutes, so it's just riding that line of feature length. So third film, really good. Makes me now want to go watch their second film, but that's not what we're watching next week.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, Chaz, I looked it up. The reason we both have different definitions is because for the American Film Institute and British Film Institute, it's 40 minutes, but SAG-AFTRA says it's an hour. So there's debate.
Fair enough.
All right, just like that, we are 12 movies deep with your new number 2 being I Saw the TV Glow. Good shit, boys. That was fun. Next week, we are going to do something a little different. Up until now, Chaz, Aaron, or I have kind of taken turns selecting a movie that we've all been forced to watch and review. But we're going to do something a little different. I spent an insane amount of hours, and I have compiled a list of movies that I have pre-vetted, which basically means I got the title, put them on an Excel spreadsheet, and I checked to make sure that they count for the purposes of this podcast as a horror movie, in that they are either IMDb listed as horror in the first 2 genres, or Wikipedia says that it's a horror movie in its first sentence. I have 559 movies on just a general list, and then I have another 284 that are all franchises.
David, I did the math on this. We will be done in 10.7 years at 1 week, a movie. And so I'm going to humbly request Hollywood, please stop releasing horror movies until we're done. You
now.
can resume when we're through, okay?
Yeah, no more horror movies for 10 years, everybody.
I disagree. We have 28 years later coming out soon, and I really want to fucking see that.
After that one, though, you're done.
One more, and you're done. Okay. We're going to take a random number generator, 1 through 559, and we're going to let the list tell us what to watch. And we're totally not going to refilm this if it lands on something we don't want to watch. We would never do that.
173.
173 is Last House on the Left.
Which one?
The 2009 version, the remake.
All right.
With
All
the
right,
girl from
the-
Aquamarine.
The remake of Last House on the Left, starring Aaron Paul and the girl from Aquamarine.
You guys want to just be badass right now and do both of them next week? Do the 1972 and the 2009 and do a compare and contrast?
I'm up for it.
Sounds fun.
Woo-wee.
I haven't seen these, so I'll sit down with Kat and watch them.
That is a rough date night, let me tell you.
Oh, damn.
The unfortunate thing is the next 2 movies on this list I'm dying to watch. Last Night in Soho is fucking incredible. And Late Night with the Devil, if neither one of you have seen Late Night with the Devil, it's one of the coolest fucking horror movies I've ever seen. It's campy as hell, but it's really fucking cool.
Oh, that's one I did want to watch. I've not seen it though.
You should pick it on your night, because I've already locked in Haxon.
I can tell you right now, I've already got an idea for my
Okay.
night, and it is not going to be that.
Okay, right on. Let's do it.
Sweet.
Original and remake Last House on the Left next week on Cast into Hell.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.